You told me something very ominous as we went to air here. You said you'd rewatch some Halloween classics, which we want to get to because it is the season. But you also said you saw a movie, and right at the
In the last, it's a no one will save you. Is that what it's called? It's a lot of people are talking about it online.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting. There's a lot of there's no dialogue in the movie. So I was interested in seeing how they handled that restriction. They did a very good job with it. But anyway, the last like 8 minutes of the movie, when the character is taken up to outer space by the aliens, it went bad. Like the whole feed from Hulu went bad. It became just dark. I couldn't see it. So I turned it off. I rebooted my TV. You know, we all know what that's like. And a half hour later, I was watching it again. It was still bad. And then yesterday I tried to watch the end of it, and I still couldn't watch it. It was still bad. Now I don't know what that means.
Could you watch anything else, or just was it just interfering with that signal?
It was just the Hulu, and a conspiracy or a coincidence. You tell me. I don't know. Could have been.
Yeah, conspiracy or coincidence. I don't know that I can tell you, but it's intriguing to think about. So Dan Truly recommended this for us when we were up at his house. For those who don't know, Dan Truly is the producer of Law and Order SVU. Does everything from Blue Bloods to Hercules and some Stephen King stuff. But he recommended this because he had seen the trailer. Now, he and I talked since because he saw the trailer. I went and saw the movie with my family, and then he saw it. We convened. We didn't actually love the piece. We felt like what it was a really good idea for like a coffee meeting, like an abduction by aliens, which, by the way, is in the trailer. Not giving too much away there. And then from there, they kind of like they were really excited about that part of the idea. That from there, and it's like, and then what happens? Well, I don't know. Maybe we a beam. But also, I didn't really love the rendering of the aliens myself personally. I wasn't really.
The rendering of the aliens actually kind of sucked donkey. Really, truly, it was bad.
Yeah.
But there was good aspects to the show. There was really cool stuff in the movie. Really cool, and there was a lot. The filmmakers had a lot of good ideas, and they really understood the art. Some great shots. I mean, it was all in all, it was really a good movie until I didn't see the end. But the aliens sucked. The aliens just sucked.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And a lot of it sort of felt like Spielberg light, like they were just
right.
That they didn't have a big enough light to come through the Venetian blinds, all that sort of thing, you know. But it was definitely, you know, I mean, there's movies that you watch because they're interesting. There's movies that you watch because they're great. There's movies you watch just because you like them. This sort of falls under the interesting category, I would say.
I agree with you. And you said something that I think everyone should take heed of, which is sometimes you watch it. So, you know, you watch a movie, you may not love certain aspects, but you can commend other aspects. And that's one of the things. That's why I always tell people like, hey, man, not for me, but you should go see it and get what you can get out of it. And what's interesting is there was this. I want to ask your director's perspective on this, because there were a couple of shots. And yes, you're right. For our generation, it felt like they think no one's seen Close Encounters. You know what I mean? Like they didn't think that we have like, well, I felt like we already have the definitive house hostage by alien situation in Close Encounters, where the screws come out of the walls and it comes down the chimney like Jaws. And I felt like they'd seen it and decided that there's some elements of that they could use, which they did. But there's a moment where like she throws the refrigerator in the alien's face. These aliens, by the way, are highly vulnerable.
She stabs one in the side of the head and it falls down, dies. And well, that's that. You know, I mean, we don't have to see any more. But it turns out they have other superpowers that we didn't know. They're
therapists.
Scissor attacks. They don't like the scissors very much.
No, they don't like scissors. And there's a bit of a therapist angle to them. They're really here to solve a lot of the world's problems. But there's a moment where she throws the refrigerator door open and she falls down. And then the alien doesn't slam the door closed or pounce. It just kind of goes over in ominous fashion. And what that Dan Truly and I were talking about that very scene, and what we thought that was, and you're the guy to answer this, is that a moment where a director says, I want this, we need this for the trailer? It may not make sense in the logical, like sort of combative moment we're in, but it'll look good.
I did not suffer the alien logic issue that you suffered. I remember the scene vividly because it is unusual, and that probably means that there's something wrong with it. But instead, I recalled I wanted more. I remember the first time I saw the alien's feet, and it was like a whole bunch of little fingers. It was ugly little feet, you know. And I thought I was going to see them again there. You didn't really get to see them again. You just saw them shuffling along. And then, yeah, it reached over. And I didn't know why. I guess an alien doesn't know what a refrigerator is. I mean, here's the crazy thing about the alien movies. Like, either they're a superior race that really understand everything, or they're not, you know?
Yeah.
And these aliens would have a sense of where she was in the house, and she'd be hiding behind a little garbage can and wouldn't see her. And I mean, this is absurd, you know.
Well, that's the thing, right? If the aliens have the technology to get here, when it's on, it's not even going to be a contest between the two of us. This thing's going to be over very quickly. We're not going to be able to hammer up a sheet over our window and keep them out, which is the mentality at one point of this movie. I mean, I'm surprised. It's very ominous that your Hulu feed got obstructed, because this, to me, has a very Lynchian ending, which if anyone between the two of us would appreciate, it would be you. Like,
I was starting to dig that she float. I love the float. You know, I mean, there was stuff on the way up there, and I got to the point where all the aliens touched her head, and they started to experience her, and they started to deal with a psychiatric issue or psychological issue about her past. And you know, I wish that we had psychologists that could help us like that right now. We could go to sit down in the clinic, they'll touch our head, and understand, and spare us, you know. But that doesn't work that way. And I was also going to say that there was other shots in the piece that were really, really good. Like, and I'm not a shot guy. Like, I don't think that, I'll get onto this a little further in The Exorcist, because there's probably not, there's not any shots in The Exorcist that are like, wow, that's a good, it's the movie. Every little piece of it supports a larger theme, the character, the feeling, the vibe. It's like brilliant that way. So when you're noticing shots in a movie, it's a little bit like, I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit like recognizing the lighting is beautiful. Well, why are you noticing? Or I can hear the music. The score is stupendous. If you're noticing any of those things, I think you're failing as a filmmaker. I think that it has to be working as a whole, and that if you can hear the writer, you know, in the room, so to speak, then the writer is grandstanding, and it's not really cool, you know. So
no, I agree.
In this movie, when she runs, I think she runs from something. Is it a car? Is it a box? A house? But the camera runs. I think I can't even remember. It pulls back. It's pulling back as the door, and it catches up to her. She's running, and it's pushing the camera. Then it lets her go again, and you see the alien in the background. Do you remember that piece?
Yeah, I do.
That's a good one.
It was good. I mean, this actress was really convincing. I bought in with her performance. She does it with no dialogue, but I'm a minimalist, so I think if there is no need for dialogue, don't have it. I don't like to have things overexpressed through vocals. Personal taste there.
I'm with you. In fact, my student film was no dialogue. You know, they always say, no, it should have narrative. No, because, you know, I don't think it really fits everything, and particularly in short movies. I think that if you have dialogue, you expect something. You know, it sets up expectations. I think no dialogue is a really good way to see if someone knows how to tell a story in pictures.
Right, I agree.